What's up, everybody, and welcome to One Man's Opinion. And today we're combining some of my favorite things. So my last video was on March Madness. My bracket hasn't done awesome, but I don't think anybody else's will, or I don't think anybody else's has either. We've also got Falcon and Winter Soldier. Their TV show, their little direct to Disney Plus show is out right now. We've got Justice League Snyder Cut dropping, so a lot happening in the world of superheroes right now with March Madness going on, and I just thought, what's a way that I could combine all of these things into one video and kind of talk about superheroes and March Madness and all of it a little bit, and I decided to put together this little bracket that you're seeing here. It is Marvel versus DC. Who will be the last superhero standing? Now, if you didn't see my Facebook post over on One Man's Opinion, you go add me on Facebook if you want to. I posed the question of who you thought would win if 32 of the greatest Marvel superheroes met up against 32 of the greatest DC superheroes in a single elimination tournament. Who would win? Who would stand tall amongst all the rest of the heroes? And that's what we're going to ask. Before we get into the actual bracket, I know you're probably looking ahead and you see number 1 seeded Hawkman over number 64 seeded Superman. Everyone was put in completely randomly. That way the matchups wouldn't show any bias or anything like that. I thought about having all Marvel versus all DC in round 1, but depending on who won, you would eventually get DC versus DC anyway as the tournament went on. So I just thought better to just randomly select everyone and just throw them in completely at random and see what happens than to try to manipulate the tournament in some way to get specific matchups or specific outcomes. So it's been completely randomly put in. That's why you see Hawkman at number 1 right here and Superman at number 64. Obviously, Superman is not the worst fighter in the tournament. Also, quickly, I tried to pick superheroes that people were mostly familiar with. Going and picking 32 superheroes, you're going to get a couple that maybe some people aren't quite as familiar with, but I'll try to familiarize you as we go with a lot of them. But mostly people that have been somewhat in the spotlight somewhere over the last, 15 years. Rule number 1, you only get basic loadouts. So Iron Man in his basic Iron Man suit, the one he's normally in, Batman in his basic Batman suit, the one he's normally in, no calling in extra suits, no Hulkbusters or the big hulking suit that Batman brought to fight Superman with, none of that stuff, because it opens sort of a Pandora's box of constant what-if-isms. What if he brought this from this one random exclusive issue over here, or this one obscure reference to something over here? It's just too much. There's too much possibility there. I just want a basic, easy fight. And for that matter, we're getting, for those with superpowers, we're getting them at their most basic, what we typically see them with the ability to be able to do. So, I don't want to hear about the time that Superman pulled a solar system behind him, or the time that the Hulk sneezed and blew up 18 planets. I don't want to hear about that. That's not typically what they're able to do. And so we're looking at typical stuff. That includes, if I do a villains bracket, that would mean that Thanos wouldn't get the glove and Darkseid wouldn't get the anti-life equation. He wouldn't get that either. So, just basic who's man enough in what they typically have to take out the others. You don't have to kill the opponent, but you do have to incapacitate or otherwise render your opponent unable to continue fighting. So that way you don't have to kill Deadpool, but if you were able to somehow stop him from fighting you, or win the fight in some way to incapacitate somebody like him or Wolverine or somebody like that, then you could win the fight that way. I think we've pretty much covered all the bases. If I think of any of the other pre-written rules, then I'll cover those as I come to them. But we're going to dive right into this tournament. We'll only be doing the first round today because I think it might take a little while. Also, I'm having some sort of issue to where I can't move the person into the next round. So I'm going to be writing down the winners over here to the side, and then I will have the 32 victors, and then the next video where I go into the second round of the tournament, I'll either have a brand new bracket filled out, or I'll have a different one altogether that will allow me to move everyone forward. Either way, we'll continue moving forward, and I'll make sure you guys know who the matchups are as we go. So number 1, Superman versus Hawkman. Not a difficult one here. This one's easily going to Superman. Just way too much power, way too much speed. He's pretty much got everything he could want on Hawkman. Hawkman's got that mace or that Morning Star or whatever he carries, but it's just not going to be enough to overcome Superman. Number 2, we have a very interesting matchup: Gamora and Roy Harper. Let's see if I can get that name out. Roy Harper is basically Green Arrow's understudy, so he wears like a red suit. And so that's who Roy Harper is. So he's like an Arrow guy. He's very good at hand-to-hand combat and that sort of thing. Gamora is probably stronger and faster than Roy, and probably could match him hand-to-hand. She also uses swords and is pretty well versed in most other weaponry. You know, she's been known to use a gun or, you know, pick up different weapons and use them in the past. Roy had really good training under Green Arrow. I think it would actually be a very good fight. I think Roy would land a couple good hard shots on Gamora. I'm just not sure that he could overcome Gamora. So far in the second round, we're going to have Gamora versus Superman. Coming up in the third fight, Blade versus Atom. Now, if you don't know who Blade is, he's the vampire hunter. You've probably seen the old Blade movies. And then Atom is basically DC's Ant-Man. So he has the ability to shrink down really small or grow really big. He uses like vials, or like, he's a scientist. I don't know. I think he has to like actually drink something to get, his suit does it, but also he uses some sort of liquid. I think I could be wrong about that, but basically it doesn't matter. Basically, Atom is DC's Ant-Man. And so thinking about this fight, at first I looked at it and I was like, I just don't know that Blade has an answer for Atom. He's going to be shrinking down and growing up real big, and he's going to be just messing with Blade so much. I don't know how Blade's going to even hit him. But then, you know, Blade's a vampire. He's also got like superhuman senses. I think even at a tiny microscopic level, Blade might be able to sense out where Atom is. Maybe not all of the time, maybe not on the most microscopic level, but I'm pretty sure he has like some sort of like, I don't want to call it like infrared vision, but the vampires have a different way of seeing a target, and he might be able to find Atom even running around the size of an ant. You know, he might be able to see him, and if he has that advantage, then I think Blade is tough enough to take a lot of the hits that Atom's going to throw at him, and I think eventually land a killing blow. If he damages the suit, Atom is in real trouble, and Blade's got that sword. So I think Blade, with his supernatural ability to sense things and his sense of smell and that sort of thing, I think he'd be able to find Atom enough to land a major blow on him. So Blade over Atom, when we've got our first Marvel character. Moving on. Actually, he was the first Marvel character in the tournament so far. These were completely random again. Black Panther versus Martian Manhunter. This is a pretty interesting fight. Black Panther, wearing that vibranium suit, is going to be very difficult for Martian Manhunter to hurt, but Martian Manhunter has so much versatility. He can literally just make himself not just invisible, but he can like phase through objects. I'm losing the word, but anyway, he can phase through objects, so he could literally make it to where Black Panther couldn't hit him at all, and all the while he's got like a genius level intellect, so I feel like he could figure out a way to get through the suit to get to T'Challa. T'Challa is super strong and super fast even without the suit. I think he would put up a good fight. There would be times where he would hurt Martian Manhunter, but Martian Manhunter also has the super strength, the super speed. I think he has heat vision. He can go completely invisible, and he can make himself look like anybody. He also has like telepathic and telekinetic abilities, so he could literally just, you know, pick Black Panther up and throw him, or have things coming at Black Panther. I think this one boils down to, I think both of them would have a hard time harming the other, but I think Martian Manhunter's versatility, his ability to avoid damage altogether while he comes up with some sort of solution, his genius level intellect, and his multiple ways of attacking give him a slight edge, because he's just a little bit more versatile than Black Panther, who pretty much has to come straight at you. He's very fast and agile, and his dark suit allows him to blend in with shadows and stuff. It may even give him a little bit of there may be a camouflage setting on that suit as well. But even so, I just don't think there's enough offensive options Martian Manhunter certainly has more offensive options than Black Panther has, and so I'm giving the edge to Martian Manhunter here. Okay, up next we have Damian Wayne versus Aquaman. So Robin, Bruce Wayne's son, versus Aquaman. Bruce Wayne, Damian Wayne has been very popular in the comics the last several years. He's shown up in a lot of the animated DC movies that have come out. So we've seen Damian quite a bit. Damian is very skilled. For a young man. He's been trained since birth, basically, to be an assassin, and then on top of that was trained by Batman afterward. His training is incredible. Likely, Bruce would have told Damian at some point a way of defeating Aquaman, but even Bruce himself doesn't have a great way of defeating Aquaman. I think, if I remember correctly, the way that Batman beats Aquaman is by using some of Scarecrow's fear toxin and making him literally afraid of the water, which is where Aquaman gets all his strength. And so by removing him from the water, weakening Aquaman, keeping him away long enough, I think if I remember correctly, is the plan that Batman always had. Damian's not Batman, and I certainly doubt that he regularly keeps Scarecrow fear toxin on him. I don't think that Damian has many options against Aquaman. Damian uses a sword, and he's quite skilled with it. And I think on a lot of levels, hand-to-hand combat, he could probably go toe-to-toe with Aquaman. But Aquaman's super strong and super fast, and has years of experience on Damian. He has the trident. He can easily deflect the blows with the sword. And even if the sword hits him, it's not going to do the kind of damage that it would do to a normal human, because Aquaman's skin is so much tougher, and his bone structure, everything about Aquaman is so much tougher than the average human. I don't think that Damian has a good way to end the fight, and I think Aquaman has several ways to end the fight. All he has to do is eventually get over on Damian, and once he starts making contact and hitting, and those blows start to take effect, Damian just being a regular person, it's eventually going to take its toll on him. And I think Aquaman, though probably gets hit by a few surprise attacks from Damian, probably gets caught off guard a few times, and it probably gets injured in the fight, I feel like Aquaman is going to ultimately overcome Damian Wayne and move on to the next round. Coming up next, we have Quicksilver versus Static. Static is a superhero, basically uses electricity. Quicksilver is super fast. And so what we have here is a very interesting matchup of speed, of electricity. And it's hard to call, because Quicksilver is going to be very difficult to hit. Obviously, a speed gives him a huge advantage. And just like the Flash, because he is so fast, when he punches you, when he hits you, when he connects, it's very, very painful, because you can imagine a punch moving at the speed of light is going to knock anyone's head off. It's like getting hit by a fist-sized bullet. I mean, it's traveling so fast at you that once he connects, he's doing a lot of damage. People see the Flash and Quicksilver as speedsters and never stop to consider how much damage that anything traveling at that kind of velocity will do to anyone that gets in the path. And so Quicksilver, very capable of doing a lot of damage in this fight. Static uses electricity, though, lightning bolts and all kind of things that are fast enough to hit Quicksilver if he's not on top of his game. But I think Quicksilver is just going to be a little too fast for Static. And while Static will probably catch him slipping a couple times, he'll probably catch him with a few lightning bolts, I don't see him being able to stop Quicksilver altogether. So Quicksilver. Next up, we have Thor Captain America, which is just unfortunate for Captain America. A lot of people Cap could go toe-to-toe with, and Thor's just not one of them. I know Cap has the shield, and I know Thor's going to bring down the hammer on the shield, and, it's a good defensive technique. He might land a couple blows with the shield, but other than punching Thor with the shield, like hitting him with the vibranium shield, other than those blows that land, he's not going to do very much damage at all. And even those are going to be minimal to Thor. Even if he connects with a straight punch to Thor, he's not going to hurt him very much. And Thor connects one time over the head with that hammer, and he's going to cave Cap's brain in. Cap just does not have the firepower to stand with someone like Thor, and it's unfortunate, because I really like Captain America. He's one of my favorite Avengers, but there's just no shot here. Thor moves on to the next round. Next up, we have Green Arrow, Scarlet Witch. That's unfortunate. There's no contest here. Scarlet Witch easily dispatches of Green Arrow. I like Green Arrow a lot too, and some of these matchups are just a little unfortunate as Scarlet Witch marches right on by Green Arrow. Bless his heart, those arrows are not going to do anything. Next up, we have a very interesting matchup. Oh, and I better scroll up. I just got to thinking. Yeah, my little guy's in the corner there. I'm sorry. Next up, we have Star-Lord versus Black Widow, and I actually think this is a very interesting matchup. Hand-to-hand combat, Black Widow's got Star-Lord whipped, but just because he's kind of like an arrogant idiot doesn't mean that he's not intelligent. Star-Lord knows his equipment and knows how to use it well to his advantage. Black Widow knows her equipment and knows how to use that well to her advantage. Now, there is the thought that she could just like seduce Star-Lord and then just kill him, and that might actually work. Star-Lord, he might be one to actually fall for that. When you break down their equipment, Star-Lord has the better technology. He has the better tools to get a strong advantage over Black Widow as far as just basic equipment goes. But Black Widow has some pretty high-tech stuff for Earth technology and has some interesting ways to maybe counter some of the stuff that Star-Lord could do. But Star-Lord can literally fly. Like doesn't he have like those boots or whatever that help him fly or something? He's got something. I feel like he can fly, and I don't think Black Widow can fly. So, that's going to be a huge range advantage. I know Black Widow has like pistols, and in some, she can even use like a sniper rifle in some instances, but, Star-Lord's using a lot more technology. I'm just trying to think. I think this would be such a good fight. My head says Star-Lord would take the win in the end, but my heart says Black Widow. I think this is just tailor-made for Black Widow, isn't it? I don't know that Star-Lord has anything. Like, Black Widow is going to be a little bit better. I don't even know if I could say that. I was going to say she's probably a better strategist, but I don't even know. Star-Lord's really clever. He's good at escaping. Like, he's good at getting away. That's what he does. And so Black Widow's really going to have to corner him to win this fight, all while dodging all of his tricks. He doesn't fight normal. Like, she's not going to be able to plan very well for what Star-Lord does, because I don't even think Star-Lord plans on what he does a lot of the time. Flies by the seat of his pants. And that sort of unpredictable behavior, I think, would throw a wrench in Black Widow's plans. I think this is a hard-fought battle, but the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking Star-Lord is going to walk away with this. And here I go trying to click it like I can, and I can't. Alright, up next we have Supergirl versus Storm, and this is a really good fight, an unfortunate draw for Storm, and I don't think we need to spend too much time on this one. Supergirl has too much. Storm with a strong tornado, with a hurricane, with a bolt of lightning can do damage. She can disorient Supergirl. She can be a nuisance to Supergirl. But once Supergirl gets to her, this fight is over. She will literally rip Storm in half. And I don't think Storm has the right tools to kill Supergirl. So Supergirl moves on. Up next, we have Punisher versus Catwoman, which is actually a pretty decent fight. Up close, Catwoman is very difficult to hit, but I don't think she could kill Punisher. Punisher's so hard to kill anyway. Catwoman typically has like claws, but they don't get very deep penetration. They're more of an irritant. She's been known to like lace those with poison from time to time, and then like has her whip, and there's a few other things. She's super agile and hard to hit. If this battle started at a distance, Punisher wins all day. I don't think Catwoman could ever even get to him. She is hard to shoot because she's so agile, and you could argue that she is also super hard to kill. So it's kind of a toss-up, but I think the Punisher's just so freaking tough. Even if Catwoman just beat the crap out of Punisher for a solid half hour, I don't think she could kill him. And just the moment that the Punisher got his hands around her, it would be over. Like, he would tear into her, and he would be breaking bones and snapping necks. Like, he would no holds barred. He would walk away a bloodied, beaten mess, but I think Punisher takes that fight in a good one. Very interesting. I think those are my favorite, the kind of ground level fights. Next up, we have Plastic Man versus Wonder Woman, and honestly, I think Plastic Man might win this. It's very difficult to kill Mr. Fantastic or Plastic Man, Their ability to just like stretch and become any shape and any form that they want makes them a nuisance for anybody. They can literally absorb blows because their body isn't made of like a physical material. It's basically just rubber. So like doing physical damage wouldn't help Wonder Woman much. Her best option would be her sword, her shield, and her lasso. Her lasso, actually, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it, Wonder Woman might just be the right person because Plastic Man is very difficult to beat. But if she got the lasso around him, I think not only does it compel you to tell the truth, but it also has an effect on superpowers. It diminishes them, and so he may not be able to stretch too much, and then she could just cut his head off. Also, you have to remember that her weapon is a godly weapon, okay? It is forged by the gods. And so it's not only just like a sword. Most physical weaponry doesn't affect Plastic Man very much at all. But I'm thinking that Wonder Woman's sword, and I could be wrong about this, I'm not the biggest guy into Plastic Man, and I know right now in the comics he's weirdly powerful. I don't know if that's a fad that happens to different characters at different times throughout comic book history. They'll just randomly be the most powerful person in the universe, and Plastic Man, unless that has come to an end, very recently was just like randomly one of the most powerful guys in the entire universe. It was weird, but I'm not gonna subscribe to that as a normality. And so I think Wonder Woman actually pulls out the win here. I think she's got just the right tools to do it, even though he is a nuisance to a lot of people that he could have come up against. So Wonder Woman, moving on. Next up, we have Beast Boy versus Mr. Fantastic, and again, here comes the stretchy man. Beast Boy, I think you think of gorillas, tigers, grizzly bears. He can even turn into like a T-Rex, and if he's been around animals from other planets, he can turn into them too. So that gives him the ability to become pretty nasty in a lot of ways. But could he kill or stop Mr. Fantastic? I don't think he could. I know it sounds crazy, but like even like a T-Rex or a crocodile or a tiger or whatever has the strongest bite strength, the claws, whatever, it's like chewing on chewing gum. So like you get him in your mouth and it's just and like he just bends between the teeth and they never puncture. And so I just can't fathom a way for even the most vicious of animals to be able to kill Mr. Fantastic. And then if he wraps himself around the neck of any animal, he's going to cut off blood flow and the fight's over. And so, Mr. Fantastic. Coming up next, we've got Green Lantern versus Dr. Fate. That would be a really good fight. Green Lantern literally runs off willpower. And you could say that the will of a person is almost the opposite of fate. So, fate is so unmoving, and will gives a human the ability to do just the unthinkable. Whatever Green Lantern puts his mind to, he can do if he's strong enough of will. But Dr. Fate is more than just a tool for the gods of fate. He is an incredibly powerful, easily on par with Doctor Strange, powerful magic. Having said that, Green Lantern's greatest weakness, along with fear, which Dr. Fate could certainly mess with his head and plant fear there, I think. Aside from that, if you can get the ring off, it's over. Like, if you can get the ring off of Green Lantern, the fight is done. And even if he can pull the and I know, not always, but I know sometimes he has a connection with the ring and he can pull the ring back to him. But even so, if he loses his Green Lantern ability and becomes Hal Jordan for even a second, Dr. Fate is done with him. He is done. And so I think edge to Dr. Fate here. Up next, we have Black Canary versus Batman. This fight is better than it looks at first. Black Canary is one of the best martial artists in the DC universe, and in some instances has been said to be better than Batman at hand-to-hand combat. It's pretty good. Batman knows Black Canary very well, though, and her greatest tool is her voice. He's going to find a way to shut her up, and he does keep a lot of things on his tool belt that could easily muffle or muzzle Black Canary. A lot of things on that tool belt. And as far as the hand-to-hand fighting goes, if it was just straight hand-to-hand, the argument could be made that Black Canary would win. But because of everything that Batman brings to play with, because of his assassin training, his distraction, his smoke grenades, his flashbangs, grappling hooks, the batarangs, he just has so many tools at his disposal I think at the end of the day, Batman would take the edge. I'm not saying that Black Canary couldn't win. I certainly think that she could. But I think if you put them in the ring, 10 times together, Batman will probably win 7 out of 10 times. So, just like a slight edge to Batman. Up next, we have Human Torch versus Captain Marvel. That's a fight. That's a fight. I mean, that is a fight. In the comics, Human Torch is really powerful. Now, again, we're not going for the extremes where he could just I think there's a version of Human Torch that literally can just decimate planets to ash at will. And we're not going that far. But even if he could, it would still take him a while to beat Captain Marvel because she's extremely tough and she's got some otherworldly abilities. I think it's a good fight, but I think Human Torch's options are limited to just basically fire attacks, and no matter how hot that fire gets, I think Captain Marvel could shake off most of it long enough to beat Human Torch. So Captain Marvel. I'm noticing that we're getting a lot, and this was done completely random, but we are getting a lot of Marvel versus Marvel, DC versus DC so far. There hasn't been just a lot of cross just yet. So, my dad's going to be mad about this one. Look, Iron Man versus Raven. My dad probably doesn't even know who Raven is, and Iron Man's one of my dad's favorite characters, so he's not going to be happy. But Raven, if you were a fan of Teen Titans back in the day, if you played the Injustice games, if you've paid a whole lot of attention to DC at all, Raven's a pretty big character. She hasn't been exactly mainstream as far as the movies go, but Raven's a huge character, and she is insanely powerful. Literally to the point that her magic, I'm pretty sure she could just peel the armor right off Tony Stark. As far as missiles and lasers and, stuff like that go, I just don't know. Even with his arc reactor, even the big one, I think he could hurt Raven. I don't think he could kill Raven. I don't think he could incapacitate Raven. And once Raven, even if he pushed Raven to the breaking point when she broke, and she had that third eye, that little red gem, and her eyes roll back in her head, and she goes full Trigon, it's not for Iron Man. I'm sorry. And the suit just isn't, it's not like Iron Man's suit's made out of vibranium or anything. Even if he has a vibranium alloy, it's not enough. It's just not enough. He's got impressive firepower, not enough. Raven certainly, my dad's going to be, if he watches this, he's going to be pissed. Raven's certainly taking Iron Man out here. Up next, we have Shazam versus Professor X, and Shazam is a super powerful superhero. Super powerful. Incredibly powerful, but also is a child. And Professor X is going to mentally assault this child and just break him down to his core. This is Professor X all day. And there's not many people on here that I would have said, oh, Shazam doesn't stand a chance at all. This is one. Professor X is going to mentally assault Shazam so hard that he's going to reduce him down to that child that he is, and it's going to be over. Okay, we're burning our way through this now. Red Hood versus War Machine. Red Hood is Jason Todd, trained by Batman. He was Robin for a short time, and then he died, and then he came back. Long story. He is extremely skilled. I think he's a really good hand-to-hand fighter, but he's not afraid to kill either. So he comes with pistols, a lot of grenades, grenade launchers, a lot of artillery. He's got that helmet on. He's wearing Kevlar. He's got the right defense and the offense. But War Machine packs too much firepower. War Machine coming with rockets and missiles and lasers and cannons and just blowing Red Hood's world up. The sad part is, I don't think Red Hood would ever get to him to make this a fight. I don't think he would. War Machine's going to end this fight quick, fast, and in a hurry. Big win there for Marvel. Deadpool versus the Demon Etrigan. This is actually a really cool fight. And I hate that Etrigan got up against Deadpool. Etrigan's one of my favorite DC characters that has not been mainstreamed at all. You find him in a lot of Constantine's movies. And so if you pay attention to the animated movies, you've seen him quite a bit. But other than that, you probably don't even know who Etrigan is. When I got down to the bottom 32, it was, I could keep putting Bat family members in there. I could have had There's probably 2 or 3 other Batman members I could have put in this, you know. Or I could grab some that some real comic book fans and some people would know. And Etrigan is legitimately one of my favorite comic book characters. But it's unfortunate because he's up against Deadpool. And even though Etrigan can breathe fire and he has that massive sword, you know, and he's super strong, and could he hack Deadpool into a million pieces? Maybe. But I don't even know if he's, you know, Deadpool's really talented. Deadpool's also arrogant. So I don't know, you know, maybe Etrigan has a shot here. Because the rule isn't kill, it's incapacitate. Having that in mind, Deadpool's still hard to incapacitate, though. He's actually super talented with the swords. He's got all kind of guns and stuff. Killing Etrigan would be difficult. You're not going to just kill Etrigan. Wonder Woman has fought Etrigan and beaten him, but Etrigan stood toe-to-toe with Wonder Woman for a while. This is actually really tough. I had to make, and I'm almost kicking myself for making the incapacitate rule, because I feel like it's unfair. You take away a lot of Deadpool advantage there. But I don't know, you know, Deadpool's just going to keep growing limbs back. If you're going to incapacitate him, it needs to be to the point where he cannot continue to fight. And even if it takes time, he's going to continue to fight. The only way to really incapacitate him permanently is if you like tossed him into the sun, or if you know, pulled a Magneto and just wrapped him in rebar, you know, like Magneto did to Wolverine, and just wrapped him in rebar and dropped him in the bottom of the ocean. Then he can't continue to fight because he's stuck. You know, he's not dead, but he's stuck. I don't know that Etrigan has a way to keep him incapacitated. If they went toe-to-toe fighting, Deadpool would wound Etrigan, that's for sure. Could he slow him down enough? I mean, Deadpool's going to walk away a mangled mass of death, but not dead. I want to give this to Etrigan so bad. I want to, but I think I can't. So I'm going to go Deadpool, even though it hurts my heart. Etrigan's really cool, though. He speaks in rhymes. If you haven't seen Etrigan, go like on YouTube after this video and look up some Etrigan stuff. He's just a cool character. I don't know. He's really unique. Nightwing versus Blue Beetle. Now this would be a fight because Blue Beetle is all power. He's a kid. He's kind of like Shazam in that he's a kid that's been gifted with extraordinary power. He's got this artifact, this ancient alien artifact that gives him all his power. Nightwing is just a dude. He's just a gymnast, but he's been trained by Batman, and he's probably the closest thing to Batman. Dick Grayson is very close to Batman. Like if Bruce Wayne died, Dick Grayson is the best. He's the best replacement for Batman, much better than Damian. Nightwing is very close to Bruce Wayne. And so, if anyone could strategize a way to get Reyes away from the Beetle, it would be Dick Grayson. I want to say he could use his mind to outdo Blue Beetle. In a battle of just power for power, Blue Beetle could kill Nightwing quick, but he's going to have a hard time hitting Nightwing. I mean, Blue Beetle's been bested by Damian, because Damian was able to get in his head, you know. But once the Beetle took over, sensed the danger and took over, he decimated Damian. So that was in a training room. There was nowhere to hide or anything like that. You know, if Nightwing had options to move in and out and to bob and weave, I just feel like he could get the Beetle away from, I think the kid's name is Reyes. And so I'm going to go in a surprising upset. I'm going Nightwing here, and I may be showing a little biased, but you know what? I didn't allow myself to be biased in the last fight and put Etrigan over Deadpool, so Nightwing is going over Blue Beetle. Oh, we're on the home stretch here, folks. We've got just a few more fights to go. Wolverine versus Spider-Man. This is unfortunate for Spider-Man. This is really tough because Spider-Man had the stuff to make a run in this tournament. But against Wolverine, he just doesn't have an option. There's no way Spider-Man can incapacitate Wolverine. There's no way that he can physically stop Wolverine from coming after him. And once Wolverine gets a hold of him, it's over. Wolverine's healing factor is too good. I mean, Spider-Man's plenty strong, He could keep his distance from Wolverine for a long time, but endurance-wise, I would give the edge to Wolverine. He's going to hunt him down. And Wolverine can smell him. He can find him. And so even if Spider-Man tried a hit-and-run tactic, I think it would only work for so long. Wolverine's greatest weakness is that he has no range at all. He's got to be right on top of you. Spider-Man's faster, but Wolverine's endurance would keep him around just hunting Spider-Man until Spider-Man literally collapsed from exhaustion. Which would take a long time. This fight would stretch on for weeks, I think. but eventually Wolverine would simply outlast him, and once he got a hold of him, it'd be over. So, Wolverine. Up next, we got Ant-Man versus Constantine. These matchups are so unfortunate. Because Ant-Man, again, is one of those that has the stuff to make a run. Because he's such a nuisance. But he cannot nuisance Constantine. Constantine has a spell for everything. Constantine would be able to find him. He'd be able to hit him with like a locator spell. It doesn't matter how small. Constantine would put some sort of spell over his eyes that would give him vision into the molecular level. Like, there is no way. Constantine is so good at what he does that Ant-Man just... I mean, Constantine could summon a demon to fight him for him. Like, Constantine just... his options are unlimited almost. So, Constantine... Up next, we have Flash versus Firestorm. This is tough. That's a really tough matchup. Flash is so good. Flash is so good at what he does. Firestorm is literally a nuclear bomb, though. He's literally a nuke. I know Firestorm would win because in my head, I'm having a harder time figuring out how Flash would beat him. Firestorm can fly. His fire abilities are crazy. He literally is a nuclear weapon. And he's smart, too. He's super intelligent. And Firestorm and Flash know each other. So, like, Flash would try to make a vortex, I think would be his go-to. He would try to make a tornado and create a vacuum effect that would suffocate. It would suffocate Firestorm. He could actually do that. But if Firestorm, I don't know, it seems like if Firestorm could heat up fast enough, he could literally burn Barry out of the nadir. It seems like Flash has one-ditch effort to win this quickly. And if Firestorm heated up, it went nuclear, I don't think there would be a chance. So, though I think Flash certainly could win the fight, I think Firestorm has more options. Starfire versus Hawkeye. Yeah, this isn't really a good fight. Starfire would destroy Hawkeye. So far, man, the Teen Titans are putting up a show, and poor Beast Boy went down. And we haven't got to Cyborg yet, but Doctor Strange, Batwoman, boy, the mismatch. The mismatches. Doctor Strange. Do I need to explain that? Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. I don't know if I said that clearly enough. That's not fair. The Thing versus Cyborg. Again, Cyborg. The Thing, look, he's tough. He's strong. Cyborg is that, plus so much more. So much smarter. And his firepower, his weaponry, it's not good for the Thing. I think the Thing would end up being the Disintegrated. He would be the Nothing. The No Thing by the end of it. Cable versus Zatanna. That is a weird matchup. That's a weird matchup. Cable has the Cyclops eye. He's got time travel, sort of. He's got an extremely durable body because that metal is taking over his body. He's intelligent. I just don't know if any of his tools are going to be capable of beating Zatanna. Even time travel wouldn't be a new concept to Zatanna, who's, one of the more powerful magic users in the DC universe. I wouldn't say top tier, but she's up there. So, Zatanna. Hulk versus the Invisible Woman. Oh, gosh darn. Invisible Woman gets Hulk smashed, for sure. Just no offensive weaponry, right? Sure, she could avoid him for a while and use her little... He would wreck right through one of those force fields, let's be honest. And what is her offensive option against the Hulk? You try to create a force field on the inside and, expand him and blow him up from the inside? I don't know. She has no way. There's no chance, man. No chance for Invisible Woman to take out the Hulk, and the Fantastic Four are all but depleted with just Mr. Fantastic winning his match. Daredevil versus Ghost Rider. Poor Daredevil. I love Daredevil. He is one of my favorites. But there's no way he can kill. You honestly can't really kill Ghost Rider unless you have a, godly weapon. You can't kill him. That doesn't mean you can't incapacitate him or slow him down for a while. But Ghost Rider is extremely powerful. God bless Daredevil, who's just a good Catholic boy. The Pennant Stare might not work against Daredevil, because he's pretty justice-minded and he's devout. Doesn't matter. Ghost Rider would just wrap him up in the chain and set it on fire and cook him. All right, we got 2 left. Hawk Girl versus Vision. I actually think this would be a really good fight. Hawk Girl's pretty stout. She's got a weapon. She can fly around with Vision. They're going to go back and forth, and then Vision's going to hit her with that head laser thing and just melt her. Vision's got, he's got an Infinity Stone in his forehead, and he's made of vibranium mostly. It's not pure vibranium, but it's like a vibranium alloy or some crap. No, Hawk Girl gonna die. Vision. Moving on. The final fight, Rogue versus Winter Soldier. What an interesting matchup. Now look, when I put Rogue in this thing, I thought Rogue will be one of those wild cards that could beat like Superman or could beat, the Hulk or somebody like that, because she can literally take their power, right? She can't do that to Winter Soldier. Dude's a dude with a robot arm and a lot of guns and stuff. Now she can take talent and abilities, and she is super strong and fast on her own. But I actually think her best option would just be to fight Winter Soldier straight up. But with the arm and everything, couple of good shots with that arm, man. And I don't know, he did take the Super Soldier Serum. So I don't know if she could really get a buff to her powers. But she's already probably on the Super Soldier level as far as like strength and speed goes. So I don't even think it would buff her that much, even if she tried to steal his ability. And she has to touch him to steal his ability in the first place. So while the fight's happening, if she reaches out to grab him and she grabs that arm, that's a no-go. Because that's not him. That's not physically him. I don't think it would work that way. And so in one of the more surprising things, Rogue, who is really good at taking out like the all-stars, not so good against the ground level people. And I think Winter Soldier just bust a cap in her head. I mean, what's to stop him from just shooting her right in the mouth as soon as the word go? I don't think she can stop him. And there are what ifs that could get her the win. What if this? What if that? Maybe she can take enough ability from him. Maybe her strength and her speed is enough. She can fly. To just kind of wear Winter Soldier down. Sure, she's got some what ifs, but I think overall majority, Winter Soldier has more options to just take Rogue out. So Winter Soldier. All right, guys. I'm at least going to finish this bracket on this channel. So if it's not like your favorite thing, I do have a DC versus Marvel villains. So like Venom versus Bane could be a fight, or you could have any number of villains. Thanos versus Darkseid. You can think of a lot of different really cool Marvel villains. Magneto would be in there, and obviously Spider-Man and Batman both have huge rogues galleries. I think that would be really interesting as well, but if this doesn't do so well, if people don't seem to like really enjoy this, unfortunately I think some of the matchups weren't super good, so maybe in the second round we'll have some better, more interesting matchups. If people aren't super interested in it, I won't do another one. If this goes well, this is something that I could do more of. We could even go into like, anime or Mortal Kombat or, Tekken, Street Fighter, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different stuff we could do with this sort of format. It's not something I'm going to do all the time, but because of March Madness and because of all the superhero stuff going on right now, I thought it would be a kind of cool idea. And maybe it's just more for me just to kind of look at interesting matchups that I've never had a chance to really sit down and think about. And because it was randomly done, I was as blind going into it as you were. So, pretty interesting stuff. I will quickly go through the upcoming matchups and then let you be on your way. Up next in the next round, we have Superman versus Gamora. We have Blade versus Martian Manhunter. We have Aquaman versus Quicksilver. We have Thor versus Scarlet Witch. Ooh. We have Star-Lord versus Supergirl. We have Punisher versus Wonder Woman. Interesting. We have Mr. Fantastic versus Dr. Fate. We have Batman versus Captain Marvel. God bless Batman. Getting put up against Captain Marvel. Oh no. Yeah, he's done. Just spoiler alert, Batman doesn't get out of the second round. Raven versus Professor X. There is an interesting, that's an interesting matchup. You'll have to stick around and see who wins that one. War Machine versus Deadpool. Could he blow Deadpool into enough little bits and in the fight? I don't know. Nightwing versus Wolverine. Oh man, that's cool. That's cool. Constantine versus Firestorm. That's cool too. Starfire versus Doctor Strange. Yeah, we're getting into some heated debates on this next one for sure. Cyborg versus Zatanna. That's as far technology versus magic as you can get almost. Hulk versus Ghost Rider. And then Vision versus the Winter Soldier. God bless. Rest in peace, Winter Soldier. R.I.P. But no, yeah, there's some mismatches, and then there's some very interesting matchups. So I will fix the bracket. Hopefully I'll be able to click people through to the next round. On the next one, what did you think? Did I get any of the matchups wrong? If there was a matchup that stood out in your head and you thought, no, you left something out or you forgot something, maybe something I missed, something somebody could have won, anything like that, let me know down in the comments. Did you like this idea? Did you not like this idea? Please leave a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, go down in the comments and let me know why. Maybe there's something I can do to improve it. Don't just automatically hit that thumbs down button. Give me ideas, feedback, and we could get more of this in the future or never do it again if it's not well received. But it was just an interesting idea, something I wanted to try. I'm going to be trying more stuff on this channel, stuff that's a little different from what you've got in the past. I'll still be going back and doing movie and TV show reviews. Those are still coming. And yes, I will still be doing the intros with those because I know a lot of people are missing those. But what did you think? Don't forget to let me know. Did I make you mad with one of the lineups? I know I can see my father already. Iron Man loses to no one. He's so mad right now. Leave it down in the comments. But if you were upset by one of my picks, don't get mad at me. Remember, it's just one man's opinion. Thanks.